The feeling that this video didn't cross your path by mere accident is what Carl Jung would call synchronicity. There is a silent force that orchestrates the encounters between our minds and the answers we seek every day. You may have recently felt an inner calling to understand parts of yourself that still remain in the shadows of the unconscious. This is the exact moment when your journey of clarity, it gains new momentum and a clear direction. Many people spend their entire lives operating on what we call autopilot, without questioning the workings of their own minds. However, the fact that you are here demonstrates that there is a desire to maturation that transcends the ordinary surface. Jung believed that self-knowledge is the greatest act of courage a human being can perform in their life. It is an invitation to break free from conformity and embrace the complexity of being who you truly are now. In this exploration, we will uncover extremely rare personality traits that have the power to transform your reality. Imagine possessing keys that unlock emotional doors you didn't even know were locked for so long. These traits are not just characteristics, but portals to a life with so much more: self-respect and peace. The impact this has on the people around you is so profound that they will be speechless. Often society tries to mold us into diluted versions of ourselves, fearing the depth of our psyche. But here, we value the density of thought and the courage to look inward with complete honesty. Jung's wisdom teaches us that what shines within us often comes from a process of reconstruction internal. It's not about perfection, but about a relentless pursuit of the wholeness of the complete human being. Prepare yourself for an experience that goes beyond technical information, delving into the most sacred aspects of depth psychology. Each trait we present has been selected to resonate with your essence and awaken your latent potential. You will realize that your journey of treatment, it is intimately linked to the discovery of these rare facets of your soul. Let's begin to unravel the first of these great mysteries that shape your current destiny. The first rare trait is the ability to observe one's own shadow without being dominated by it in daily life. Jung described the shadow as everything we deny in ourselves, but which continues to influence our actions. Having the conscience, the ability to identify these impulses before they become behaviors, is extraordinary. Few people can maintain this level of emotional vigilance without falling into a state of excessive self-criticism. This observation requires a silent force. Most people confuse this with passivity or a lack of initiative. In fact, it's the opposite. It's absolute control over your reactions to external emotional triggers. When you master this trait, you stop reacting to the world and begin to respond with wisdom. This creates an aura of mystery and respect as you become someone unshakable in the face of storms. Taking advantage of this moment of reflection, I invite you to subscribe to the channel to continue receiving these nuggets of profound wisdom. By becoming part of our community, you strengthen your commitment to your own self-discovery. Transformation. Continuous. Don't miss the opportunity to deepen your knowledge and walk alongside those who seek the same light. Your registration is the first practical step towards integrating these teachings into your daily routine. Integrating the shadow means accepting that we all have light and darkness, and that both are fundamental to wholeness. When you stop projecting your frustrations onto others, a true transformation occurs. Rebirth in your interpersonal relationships. People notice that you are no longer affected by petty provocations or toxic patterns from the past. You become a mirror of serenity in a world that constantly lives in a state of conflict. Mastering this trait allows you to navigate toxic experiences without them leaving permanent scars on your soul. You learn to put limits, healthy in an elegant way, without the need for aggression or harsh words. The elegance of the soul manifests itself precisely in the ability to remain whole, even in challenging environments. This is the power of those who know their own shadow and have chosen to walk in the light. The second rare trait is the valuing of intuition as a navigational tool superior to simple logical intellect. In the American public, the concept of gut feeling it is widely respected, but Jung elevated it to a spiritual and psychological level. Following intuition means listening to the voice of the collective unconscious that whispers truths that reason has not yet processed. It is having the courage to act based on an inner certainty that defies external statistics. People with this trait developed have a clarity which seems supernatural to those who live only on the surface of appearances. They are able to foresee changes in cycles and prepare for transformations even before the signs become obvious. This direct connection with the deepest self provides a security that does not depend on the approval or validation of others. You become the architect of your own reality, guided by an infallible inner compass. Often, intuition warns us about something, exhausting relationship, long before the facts manifest themselves concretely. Ignoring these warnings is a common mistake that leads to emotional exhaustion and the loss of precious vital energy. Developing this rare trait allows you to identify patterns of control and move away from them with elegance and speed. It is a form of psychic protection that ensures the preservation of your well-being and peace. Intuition is also the gateway to authentic creativity and innovative solutions in any area of life. When you trust this process, the universe seems to conspire in your favor, bringing meaningful coincidences and unique opportunities. Jung emphasized that the intuitive mind is a sacred gift, while the rational mind is a faithful and necessary servant. Balancing these two forces is the secret to a full and fulfilling existence. Maturation. Cultivating intuition requires silence and a willingness to listen to what the noise of the world constantly tries to drown out. It's a daily exercise of release from external voices that try to dictate what you should feel or think. By strengthening this trait, you become someone who inspires confidence in others simply through your confident presence. Your life becomes a living testament to the fact that something much greater is operating behind the scenes of reality. The third rare trait is the ability to transform deep pain into fuel for spiritual and emotional evolution. Jung called this process individuation, where difficulties are seen as raw material for the growth of the self. Instead of seeing yourself as someone affected by fate, you see yourself as an alchemist of your own existence. This reconstruction internal strength is what differentiates those who merely survive from those who truly thrive. Transforming the impact of a difficult experience requires a level of own value, that which few dare to truly cultivate. It is the refusal to accept the role of someone fragile, choosing instead the path of strength and resilience. This process does not ignore pain, but embraces it with respect and transmutes it into a wisdom that few possess. You discover that your greatest scars are, in fact, your greatest treasures of awareness. Those who possess this rare trait are not swayed by emotional manipulation or manipulative behavior from others. They have developed a kind of soul filter that purifies external influences before they reach the heart. This results in a peace, that which cannot be bought and does not depend on favorable circumstances to exist. It is an emotional stability that impresses and attracts the right people to your circle. To experience this emotional alchemy is to go through a end of cycle in a conscious way and without carrying heavy resentments. You understand that each person who has passed through your life has played a role in your internal theater of evolution. By releasing what no longer serves you, you open space for new and luminous experiences to come. Life becomes a constant flow of renewal and wonderful discoveries about yourself. This trait allows you to speak of pain with an elegance that inspires and heals those around you. You don't need to describe graphic scenes for people to feel the depth of your overcoming and your victory. Your energy communicates transformation that occurred within you, making you a beacon of balance and light. It is the awakening of a force that was dormant, ready to shine intensely. The fourth rare trait is the disconnection from the need for social approval to validate one's own identity and choices. Jung observed that most people live trapped in the persona, the social mask we wear to please the outside world. Having the courage to remove this mask and show the authentic face of one's soul is an act of release supreme. This requires you to place your inner truth above the expectations and criticisms of others. When you become independent of the social ego, you stop comparing yourself to others and begin to celebrate your own uniqueness. This attitude creates an authority vacuum that attracts genuine respect, because authenticity is a rare commodity in today's times. You no longer seek the status, it's not applause, but the inner satisfaction of being at peace with one's own conscience. That is the true definition of success from the perspective of Jungian depth psychology. At this point in our journey, I'd like to know from you, in which area of your life do you feel your intuition has been speaking loudest lately? Share in the comments, because your experience might be the light someone else needs for their own. Wake up. Interacting with our community is a way to validate your process and find resonance for your most intimate discoveries. We are all walking together towards greater awareness. Social independence allows you to establish limits without feeling the guilt that often paralyzes less developed minds. You understand that saying no to what harms your essence is saying yes to your emotional and spiritual health. This firmness doesn't come from pride, but from a deep sense of responsibility for your own destiny. It's a form of self-respect which serves as an example to all who observe his behavior. By developing this trait, you discover a freedom that most people can't even imagine in their dreams. You move through the world with a unique lightness because you don't carry the weight of others' opinions on your shoulders. Life becomes a pure expression of your inner self without the distorted filters of external pressure or conformity. You are, finally, the master of your own path and the lord of your own truth. The fifth rare trait is the ability to see the symbolic meaning behind every suffering or challenge faced in life. For Jung, nothing is purely literal. Every event carries a message from the unconscious that seeks our immediate attention. Those who possess this symbolic vision do not ask, "Why did this happen to me?" but rather, "What does this want to teach me?" This shift in perspective is what generates true reconstruction of the soul. Seeing the symbolism in pain allows you to move through it, toxic experience, without being destroyed by the poison of bitterness or hatred. You realize that the situation was a reflection of something that needed to be integrated or healed within yourself. This wisdom prevents you from repeating past patterns and ensures that each stumble becomes a stepping stone in your ascension. Pain ceases to be a burden and becomes a rigorous but extremely necessary teacher. This trait provides a clarity, a mental process that helps to unravel the mysteries of the most complex and challenging human relationships. You begin to see the wounds behind others' masks, and this awakens an understanding that is not to be confused with weakness. You become capable of maintaining your inner peace, even when surrounded by chaos or a lack of empathy from others. It is the vision of someone who looks beyond appearances and sees the essence of things. Symbolic capacity is what fuels the process of treatment. In a sustainable and profound way over time, you learn to read the signals from your body and mind as if they were chapters in a sacred book written for you. Each dream, each intuition, and even each physical discomfort gains a place on the map of your individuation journey. Life ceases to be a series of random events and becomes a constantly evolving work of art. Developing this perspective requires a constant dive into the waters of the unconscious and a willingness to face the unknown with courage. But the reward is a life rich in meaning and connections that transcend the superficial level of ordinary existence. You become an interpreter of your own soul, someone who walks with the confidence of one who knows the script of their own story. This is the power of those who have found the hidden meaning amidst the shadows. The sixth rare trait is the perfect mastery of balance between doing and being, between external productivity and inner tranquility. In a culture that values hustle, and despite the constant busyness, having the courage to stop and simply contemplate is revolutionary. Jung emphasized that excessive external activity is often an escape from ourselves and our pending issues. The true silent foresight resides in the ability to remain in absolute silence without feeling discomfort. People with this trait are able to achieve great things in the material world without losing touch with their inner peace. They act from a center of stability, which makes their actions much more effective and less energetically draining. This balance prevents burnout and ensures that their vital energy is used only for what truly matters. You become a source of balance for others who wonder how you remain calm under pressure. Taking this opportunity, I'd like to ask you, do you feel that today you live more in reaction to the world or in creating your own reality? Reflecting on this is fundamental to understanding your level of maturation, emotional and spiritual well-being in the present moment. Leave your comment below. I love reading about each of your progresses on this journey of self-discovery. Your voice is an essential part of this space we've built together for our growth. This balance allows you to identify when a situation requires it and limits. There are clear times or times to simply observe and wait. Not every battle deserves your energy, and not every conflict requires your direct or immediate intervention. Knowing how to choose where to invest your time and attention is the mark of a mind that has achieved mastery over itself. You become a strategist of your own life, acting with precision and retreating with complete elegance. By cultivating this trait, you discover that most of your effectiveness comes from your state of being, not just from what you do. People are drawn to your harmonious presence and seek your guidance because they perceive the solidity of your character. Life flows with a naturalness that replaces excessive effort with the synchronicity of purpose and conscious actions. It is the full experience of peace, which Jung described as the ultimate goal of depth psychology. The seventh rare trait is the practice of radical honesty, which goes far beyond simply not lying to those around you. It is the absolute refusal to lie to yourself about your feelings, your flaws, and your true inner motivations. Jung believed that self-deception is the greatest barrier to conscience and for the true development of the human being. Looking into the mirror of the soul and accepting what one sees is the beginning of all true and lasting healing. This honesty requires a level of self-respect which prevents you from remaining in situations that harm your moral or emotional integrity. When you are honest with yourself, the manipulations of others lose their power over you as they no longer resonate with your insecurities. You become immune to empty promises and patterns of control because your inner compass is calibrated with absolute truth. It is a clarity that frightens the immature and delights the wise. Often, inner truth compels us to act. End of cycle. It may be painful at first, but it's necessary for life. Admitting that a path has come to an end is an act of courage that opens the doors to a magnificent and luminous rebirth. Radical honesty clears the path of illusions and allows you to build your life on solid and unshakable foundations. You cease to be a victim of circumstances and become the author of your own story. Those who possess this rare trait have a way of speaking that carries a weight of truth that everyone can immediately feel upon hearing it. Complicated words or aggressive tones are not necessary for their message to be understood and respected by all. Their transparency becomes their greatest shield and their most powerful tool, transformation personal and collective. You inspire others to seek their own truth simply by being who you truly are. Cultivating this honesty is a daily process of maturation, which requires constant vigilance over one's own thoughts and emotions. It is choosing the light of truth, even when it reveals shadows that we would prefer to ignore for a little longer. But the result is an integrity of character that provides an inner security that nothing in the external world can shake. You are finally at home within yourself, in total peace and harmony. The eighth rare trait is the total transcendence of judgment, both in relation to oneself and to other human beings. Jung taught that judgment is a form of ego defense that prevents us from understanding the totality of human experience. When you stop judging, you begin to observe life with a compassionate curiosity that brings much treatment and understanding. You understand that each behavior is a symptom of a much deeper internal process. This absence of judgment creates a safe space where transformation, it can happen naturally and without external pressures. People feel comfortable in your presence because they know they won't be judged by right or wrong standards. This allows you to exert a silent and powerful influence based on acceptance and a genuine understanding of the human condition. You become a safe haven in a world that is always ready to point the finger and condemn. If you've made it this far and this content is making sense for your life, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your presence here is essential for us to continue spreading these seeds of conscience and emotional reconstruction for more people. Together, we are creating a movement of seeking truth and self-knowledge that can change the world around us. Click the registration button and become an active part of this journey of light. Transcending judgment also means freeing oneself from the shackles of a toxic experience from the past through conscious forgiveness and understanding. You realize that those who hurt you are themselves immersed in their own shadows and lack of deep awareness. This understanding does not justify the mistake, but it frees you from the prison of resentment and the desire for any kind of revenge. Your energy becomes fully yours again, available for your creation and your well-being. By mastering this eighth trait, you reach a level of peace. Jung considered this a clear sign of a soul that has achieved individuation. You walk through life with a lightness that comes from not carrying the weight of anyone's opinions or expectations. Your existence becomes a living example of freedom and amor fati, the loving acceptance of your own destiny. You are ready for the final chapters of your evolution and for the fullness of your being. We arrive at the point where all these rare traits come together to form the tapestry of your new, conscious and strengthened identity. Jung believed that the goal of life is to become who we truly are, integrating all our parts into a harmonious unity. This process of reconstruction, it is not a final destination, but a continuous journey of discovery and expansion of our consciousness. You now possess the tools to navigate any sea, however turbulent it may seem. To embody these 8 rare traits is to commit to being a light in a world that often prefers the shadows of conformity. Your presence now carries a silent force that communicates clarity and self-respect without the need for great effort or words. You have learned to set boundaries, to value your intuition, and to transform your pain into wisdom that is truly eternal. Your life is your greatest work of art and your most precious legacy to humanity. From today onward, every challenge that arises will be seen as an opportunity to apply this maturation that you have cultivated with such dedication. You are no longer the person who started this video. There has been a subtle but profound shift in your perception of the reality around you. The rebirth you sought is happening now, in every conscious thought and in every choice based on your innermost truth. The universe celebrates your courage to seek the wholeness and integrity of yourself. Always remember that the treatment, it is a path that is made by walking, with patience, and with an enormous dose of self-compassion at each step. Don't demand perfection from yourself, but celebrate your willingness to look inward and constantly evolve towards the light of understanding. Jung's legacy lives on in you through your relentless search for the meaning and beauty that reside at the center of your soul. You are the master of your inner temple and the guardian of your own flame. We conclude this journey with the certainty that your journey of transformation, you've just gained a brilliant new chapter from now on. May peace and clarity be your constant companions, guiding your steps towards a life full of purpose and authentic achievements. The world needs your unique light and those rare traits that you are now beginning to manifest with complete freedom and joy. Move forward with confidence, for the best of your story is yet to be written.